I think I want to know what Trampus's current skincare regimen is. And then we should decide if he should add tallow to it.
I use the 9-in-1 body wash, shaving cream. You're laughing. I'm dead serious.
9. I know you are. 9-in-1.
I didn't know there was a 9-in-1.
Deodorant, like everything. It's all there in the same bottle. So.
What?
Nope.
I'm kidding.
Welcome back to Making It Awkward. I'm your host, Jessica Wilson. Today, I invited Trampus, Harmon, and Sarah Dougherty back to the show to talk about cow products, byproducts, like tallow and collagen, and what's missing from that situation. Trampus takes us through what tallow is, how he makes tallow at home, and his new market for cow products. Sarah shares what would need to be considered if colostrum supplements were truly not going to take colostrum from baby cows. RFK Jr., celebrity doctors, and influencers hinge the seed oil v. tallow debate on the ways that seed oil can be processed using chemicals they claim shouldn't be near our food. They tell us that tallow is healthier because it comes from cows in the way that nature intended. Is it possible to make frying oil tallow again and keep the ideal of farm to fry without using preservatives and stabilizers as is so critiqued in seed oils? My guess is not. One food industry corporation, Birkocorp, advertises a variety of chemicals for use in tallow rendering, including anti-foams, refining aids, and acids to, quote, optimize the pH of the aqueous mixture used in rendering. Increasing the scale of tallow use will make it as subject to streamlined processing as seed oils, and then what? We'll have more expensive, industrially processed fat to cook with. And I came to colostrum supplements a while back, but didn't dig into the ethics until National Geographic asked me to contribute to a piece about green powders. They sent me the Bloom Supplement Company because they have their own version. Bloom also offers a collagen and colostrum supplement and tell us that, quote, our colostrum is from family dairy farms across the USA that ensure calves are fed first, always. That means we only collect the excess colostrum, ensuring that baby cows get all they need. No cows are harmed in the process, end quote. And then there's a supplement company called Armra, which has apparently trademarked the term the leaders in colostrum for some reason. They promise a synergistic revival of your whole body health. They promise that their colostrum is grass-fed, non-GMO, certified glyphosate-free, and sourced sustainably from family-owned dairy farms throughout the USA under the most stringent standards for quality and animal welfare. Furthermore, they uphold a commitment to calf-first sourcing. This means they only collect overflow colostrum, the surplus remaining after the calves are fully fed to receive all the vital nutrients they need. Sarah today breaks down why this is likely a false promise. For those watching on YouTube and Spotify, you can catch clips of Trampus making tallow at the end of the episode. Friends, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Trampus, you have to say something so that people know you're here.
I am here. I'm not AI.
Artificial insemination?
Well, actually.
No.
No.
No, we're not doing that. Have you two put tallow on your face?
I have not.
No, I have not.
When's the last time you ate or used tallow for anything?
This morning.
What'd you do?
Fried some eggs.
In tallow, not
Yeah.
bacon grease.
Yeah.
How did you come around to doing this?
I've had customers who have asked me about tallow, and usually when customers ask me about something, I'll try it as well. That's mostly, hey, you should try it this way, or you should try it that way. And so I was like, all right, sure. And then I had some, and so I don't like things going to waste. So it's like, I'll just use it until it's gone. It's not something I'm like, oh my God, the taste is so much better or something.
Mm-hmm.
I usually cook my eggs in chili oil, which is like a seed oil. I'm sure it's probably canola or vegetable oil, but that's how I usually cook my eggs. And so, yeah.
When did your customers start asking about tallow?
It's been about a year now. I first had customers asking for suet. So suet is the fat that is around the kidney on the beef, and then you remove the fat from the kidney, and that's what you render down to make tallow.
Okay, you're going to have to back up. So we've butchered this cow.
Yep.
All of the bits and pieces are out on a table? What are we?
Usually in a bucket, but yeah.
Okay, is the meat and all the bits in a bucket?
So the meat is hanging, and then the bits, heart, liver, tongue, cheeks, that all goes into a food grade bucket.
Okay.
And then, but the meat has a hook through it, and it's quartered, and the kidney is still attached. Like the kidney is attached to the body. When you take it to the butcher, when the butcher processes it and like cuts it into cuts, they will remove that kidney.
So the kidney is the only thing left standing?
Basically, yes.
Huh. Okay, so you're able to get it because it's stuck there.
Yep.
And that's what the people use. Oh, sorry, you, because it's you. You grab the kidney and then there's fat around it.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happens?
On one cow, there's about 20 pounds of fat, if I'm thinking correctly, around the kidney. Mm-hmm. Around both kidneys, so about 10 pounds per kidney. Okay. And then you render that fat by boiling it with salt. And so you get basically like cracklings on the top. You remove the cracklings, and then you refrigerate it, and the fat goes to the top. And then the impurities, like there will be a little bit of meat. There will be a little bit of it won't be pure white. And that's what everybody wants in their tallow, is they want it as white as possible. And so you refrigerate it, and then you remove it from the water. All the impurities go to the bottom. You do the same process 2 more times.
No, you don't. I'm sorry. Maybe you do. You lost me at 2 more times. But keep going.
It's a really simple process because you just throw it in a crock pot. And, you don't have to actually, you cut it up into small pieces. You put it in the crock pot in water. You boil it. You put it in the fridge, let it cool. Then you put it back in the crock pot and do it again after you clean your crock pot in between. And so it probably takes 30 minutes total of you actually interacting with it. Okay. The actual process takes 2 days, but 24 hours. But most of us don't go straight and work 24 hours straight just to render tallow. So
speak for yourself. Okay, there's probably somebody out there.
but yeah, so it's not a very labor intensive process to do. It's just it has to render and it takes time. And so you're not involved in that process, though.
Okay. And so are you selling the tallow now, or are you just selling the fat from around the kidneys?
So I mostly just sell the suet.
Yeah.
Which is the fat. In Oregon, I can legally sell tallow for candle making.
Oh, okay.
But since I don't have a commercial kitchen, I cannot sell tallow for eating. So I do not sell tallow for eating.
On the record.
What you do with your tallow at your house is your business. I sell tallow for candle making.
Got it.
Yeah.
How long have you been selling tallow for candle making?
About 6 months.
Have you ever made candles?
I have.
Do they smell like cow?
A little bit. Like a little bit like beef still. It's still like there's still a small like beef smell to the fat, even after you've rendered it that much.
Yeah. Sarah, do you want cow smelling candles?
I do not.
No.
Beef smells delicious. Why not? Like your whole house could smell like you just cooked hamburgers all the time.
All the time. Maybe if I put some cocoa in the tallow and then burn that.
Can you like cinnamon or vanilla flavored smelling cow in your
A lot of people use lavender in their tallow, and then they whip it to make body creams and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then you smell like a lavender cow all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. First off,
I think I'm okay.
Lavender hamburger, not a lavender cow. There's a big difference.
Fair. I still think I'm okay. It's like somebody walked into a candle shop and a McDonald's at the same time.
Exactly. That's actually, I was thinking like a fast food worker who uses lavender body butter. Like, yeah, there you go.
I think I'll pass.
That stuff gets stuck on your wall. Like, and that's fine if you want it, but like, we've been in touch.
I'm so sorry. Did you just say it gets stuck to your wall? Because you have a habit of putting body butter on and then rubbing against the wall?
No, like if you burn a can, like that's
okay.
It's not going to burn away. I don't know. That's
I suppose when we get to a point where we don't have electricity because we've made everybody upset, I will take the hamburger smelling candle.
Next time we go to a comedy club, I will bring some tallow for you so you can cook your eggs.
I think I will stick with my coconut oil, actually.
Okay. So the idea with tallow is that it's so much healthier in part because seed oils specifically can be produced / processed using hexane and all these other scary things. My question / hypothesis is that if tallow becomes as popular as seed oils, like what's to prevent some mass marketing situation for it to be not boiled in a crock pot, for example, but to be mass produced in ways that make it similar to seed oils? I don't know.
I personally have zero doubt that it already is. You know, it's sort of like the grass-fed, grass-finished. I wonder about how much of that is actually grass-finished. And yeah, I'm just same thing with the tallow. Is it actually tallow or...
Yeah.
I think my other thing too is if you're going to mass produce things for commercialized production, quite often you have to put stabilizers in them for them to be shelf stable for a long period of time. And so while tallow doesn't spoil on the counter, how long does Trampus's homemade tallow not go bad on the counter? Because it's not forever. Eventually, something happens. And so the things that you add to food to make it shelf stable is the whole topic of discussion around Maha, right? It's all the processed foods. And so if you're going to talk about making something that is healthy in small quantities when it's homemade, farm to table, then it's the whole ballgame changes once you start mass producing things.
When you start selling to McDonald's.
Or it's not McDonald's, it's Steak and Shake.
Yeah, Steak and Shake.
Yeah. So they're all doing it in tallow now. And a lot of businesses so local businesses here in town, small mom and pop, are starting to go back to tallow as well.
Because it's cheaper?
Trendy.
Oh.
So are they charging more?
Yes.
Oh, like how much more?
Like $2-3 for a basket of fries.
More.
Yeah.
Huh. Good for them. How much money are you making off of suet, and are you charging enough?
So suet is a byproduct.
Yeah.
Like it's something that we would normally discard.
Yeah.
And so if I make $1 a pound on something that I would normally discard, I made, $40 on a cow. And so I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but every bit helps, especially with farming. Farming's all about margins, and our margins are very thin. We actually get $4 a pound for our suet. And so that will pay for the butcher cost per steer or or not per steer, because most of our steers are sold to our customers. But like when I butcher a cow for hamburger, that comes back to me because it goes through USDA and I can get the suet out of that. Most of my customers that are getting halves and wholes of beef are getting the suet as well. That's one of the things that they want. Like, it used to be heart, liver, tongue, tail, that was all thrown away or given to the farmer. And now most customers want that. And same thing with the suet and bones for bone broth as well.
Right. Okay. So what's the situation? How does this all happen when the same things can be used in tallow rendering as in seed oil production? Like, why are cows better? Sorry, cows are cool. But what's happening? Is it the class? Is it the cost? Like, why does this one guy get to ride in on his like high horse and make canola terrible.
Tallow is more expensive than seed oils in general. And I sort of feel like there's been a lot of influencers that have said, hey, this is the only way you can get healthy is you have to stop. Like seed oil causes inflammation. If you read enough research, it does not. But that's what people believe. And so that's what they purchase.
Yeah.
Like, I really honestly believe that's, and then you get people with health problems and they get desperate for a solution. And so, Jimmy's got a 6-pack and he was walking around here shirtless and saying, hey, this is how I got, in shape. And so I should listen to Jimmy instead of reading these articles that say Jimmy's full of crap. So, yeah.
He's full of tallow.
Yeah.
Not crap. Sarah, do you have thoughts on why this became a thing?
I don't know that I have good thoughts about it. I think if you go back 100, 150 years, when there wasn't commercial food processing, people raised their own animals for meat or for food, and they used every single bit that they possibly could because that was the only source of calories that they had. And so historically, people are used to having tallow on hand because they're butchering their own cows. They're using all of those products, and particularly those byproducts of cattle or sheep or chickens or whatever that you could make last longer, because before we had preservative options, refrigeration, freezers, you had to make those products last longer. But then you get to a point where you have so many people and not enough resources to feed them, and you have to start looking for alternative sources. So plant products you can make in a bigger quantity than you can animal products. And so the standard of having seed oils as options came because we didn't have as many other options. And I think when you talk about seed oils are bad and the whole Maha movement, I think it all boils down to nothing is bad for you if you are in the right proportions, right? And so, and then I guess I don't buy the seed oil thing. If you look at like Blue Zones, olive oil is a seed oil, is it not?
Oh, the whole thing. Olive oil has a pit, therefore it's a seed.
Right.
Avocado has a pit, like
therefore it's a seed. So like it goes directly against all of the evidence we see in Blue Zones because their base is seed oils. And I think the whole thing is a lot of bullshit, for lack of a better word.
I think that's good. I think that it goes back to the argument that seed oils are bad because they're in processed food. But that's not.
But tallow is processed food. Like it's processed because it's not in its normal form. You're not taking. If I were eating chunks of suet, it wouldn't be processed because
okay.
Right, but my hamburger is processed food because I'm not eating it straight the way it comes. So, what is your definition of processed food?
Yeah, RFK at Steak and Shake had a fry in his hand. I saw him eat one on that entire plate. I don't feel like he is now going to start eating fries, but now he has made people switch to tallow. Let's make a Cheeto with tallow and see what happens. Because I don't think that is what we're like, that's what they want. I don't know why this is the dog whistle. Is it a dog whistle? I don't know.
Oh.
Like, I don't know how to use that. But like for class and race, like how people who can afford this, but apparently people can afford Steak and Shake. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand. I'm confused.
Tallow fries do taste better.
That's fair.
Like,
they want their fries.
At no point in my life
better?
have I ever thought French fries are a health food, no matter what it's cooked in, even if it's like air fried. I still feel like,
Do you think a baked potato is healthy?
Am I talking about a baked potato or a baked potato how I eat it? I'm saying that tallow fries taste better, and I'm not eating fries to try and get healthy. That's all I'm saying.
Versus people are eating tallow in order to get healthy, and they're putting it on their face in order to, I don't know.
That you have me at that one.
I mean, It's.
I think I want to know what Trampus's current skincare regimen is. And then we should decide if he should add tallow to it.
I use the 9-in-1 body wash, shaving cream. You're laughing. I'm dead serious.
9. I know you are. 9-in-1.
I didn't know there was a 9-in-1.
Deodorant, like everything. It's all there in the same bottle. So.
What?
Nope.
I'm kidding. No, I have no skincare regimen. I have a customer who she just bought all of my suet. She makes her own tallow, and she makes body creams with it, body butter, and that kind of stuff. And it's super popular. Like, she constantly buys me out.
Have you tried it?
I have not.
Feels like you should if you have no routine.
I think you need to.
Yep.
And report back.
Yes.
Work on my crow's feet.
Like, can you not? Can she just bring you some in thanks?
It doesn't need to be a whole jar. It's like a tablespoon.
I think a tablespoon is about how much, like, she's selling it in little.
Stop it.
Like
a 2-ounce situation?
Yeah, like about the size of a Carmex.
Is it TSA approved?
What is happening? Where did we
I'm sure it's smaller than 4 ounces. Yeah.
And how much does that small container, Carmex-sized container of body butter go for?
I think $17.
Stop it.
I mean,
yes. So I definitely think that the entire population of America could afford to switch to tallow.
I have a daughter and a stepdaughter, and I have seen their makeup costs before. So I don't feel like that's too expensive at $17 for like.
You're very clearly talking to the wrong person, because I have 3 things in my skincare regime, and what's a Neutrogena bar for $5 that lasts me over a month. And then lotion that lasts me probably 3 months for $7.50. And then my occasional use of sunblock. Okay, more than occasional.
Better be. Trampus use you.
I never use sunblock.
I know.
So the seed oil is not going to kill you because the sun
will,
and the
yes.
Yes, RFK looks like he's never met sunscreen, so I really don't feel like he needs to be worried about other things.
The seed oils are not going to be what gets him.
No.
But I mean, how old is RFK too? Like, something's going to get us all in the end. So,
I'm going
to start doing heroin at 80. So, yeah.
I mean, at 80, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, maybe that if you are 80 and you're doing heroin, you could be the next health secretary.
Yeah,
oh no,
that is true. So, didn't he say that he was using heroin or something like that?
He's a known heroin addict. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah, forever ago, I sent you a text about Bloom supplements and how they claim that their colostrum is harvested ethically. And you had some spicy responses. What's your thought on ethically sourced colostrum for a $29.99 supplement for my gut?
$29.99. I think I have a lot of follow-up questions, and to be fair, their FAQs are not scientifically driven. And so I don't have double-blinded, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed studies to prove that they are ethically sourced. I think there's a lot of variables when you're talking about colostrum and colostrum quality and quantity and how long colostrum is supposed to last, how long the calf needs it, if we're talking about beef-sourced colostrum. So what is colostrum? I guess is the first thing. Colostrum is the milk that a mammal makes in the first 36 to 72 hours after delivery that is supposed to give the newborn its initial mucosal immunity. So infants, mammal babies are born naive to bacteria, viruses, diseases. They have no way to protect themselves against that because they've never seen them. So we develop immunity over time through exposure and our immune system fighting those. Newborns don't have any of that. And so mom gives them through their meals the first up to 72 hours. And the way that works is, so colostrum is primarily proteins. There's very little carbohydrates or fat in that, which is very different than when you talk about milk, which is what colostrum turns to. So there's 3 antibodies primarily that make up colostrum, and IgA is the biggest component of that. And IgA is only absorbed through the gut mucosa, but that can only be absorbed for about 72 hours. Once you hit the 3-day mark, the gut closes and cannot absorb those nutrients the same way. And then they've developed to be able to absorb the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins from traditional meal sources.
I have many follow-up questions.
So my follow-up questions continue to go down. The quality or quantity of antibodies that are available in colostrum vary from cow to cow. For a first-year heifer, the quality is going to be very low compared to you have a 5 or 6-year-old that has had 5 to 6 calves. The quality improves over time. However, if you have a cow that has a low body condition score because she's underfed or malnourished or has underlying disease, or you have, well, I guess the nutrition falls into that too. So, or if she's not on an appropriate diet to maintain pregnancy and colostrum development, then she's not going to have as high antibodies, and the colostrum is going to be as quality, which means that the calf then needs every single drop of that to have half a chance at survival. Mm-hmm. Because he's already starting behind the 8 ball, because if she's malnourished or underconditioned, the pregnancy probably wasn't very strong to begin with. So I just wonder how we're getting excess colostrum at the end of 72 hours of milking this cow.
Okay. So these 72 hours is when it's produced, or when the gut and when the gut closes, like after
Both.
This point?
Yeah.
What is this gut situation? Oops, what? It's open and then it's closed.
Yeah. So there's special receptors within the gut mucosa that can absorb these types of proteins.
Interesting.
And then they kind of fall to the wayside, and your traditional cells that are responsible for absorbing the rest of your nutrients become more developed and more active. So we call it the gut closes at 3 days-ish, give or take a few hours.
Okay.
I thought it was 24 hours.
That's the primary, but they can produce up, it starts to wane from 24 to 72. So your biggest success rate for quality colostrum and open gut is 24 hours, but and then the window just slowly closes over the next 2 days.
Okay.
We got this into a group chat, and you said, but there's way more than a cow actually, or a calf actually needs. Isn't there going to be extra?
My point in that was that a Holstein cow will produce 7 to 10 gallons of milk a day.
Okay.
First day. And so a calf needs 4 liters.
A gallon, I think.
Yeah.
That's 8?
A day. Yes. The excess milk, but it is of a lower quality. Like if that cow produces 7 gallons that day, she's a high producing cow. The whole thing is not a 7 gallons of colostrum.
Right. Oh, okay.
Even though it's the first 24 hours, like it's not a whole high quality colostrum. That's where I was having a disconnect. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So Sarah told me that, because I was like, that doesn't make sense. Cows make a lot of milk, And then I read, because Sarah is a subject matter expert, she's a veterinarian. I'm a farmer. Like, hey, this cow makes milk. This cow has lots of milk. Why not? And so Sarah's like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, okay, so why not? I don't doubt Sarah, but I want to know the science behind it. And so when Sarah tells me something like that, I'm like, dude, I'm going to read some articles about this, because I want to educate myself. And so
sometimes you have to make the farmer read some white papers.
It's funny that I actually enjoy reading like the white papers. I do all the time. People talk about, this and that, and this is, based on scientific research. And I'm like, dude, I want to read the science behind this. When Sarah said that about the colostrum, I was like, I'm going to read the white papers about this and research this. And most of the studies were done on jerseys. And I was like, I don't like jerseys, so I want to learn more about Holsteins. So
they're so adorable, though. I think my other follow-up question to the Bloom supplement, and this is any supplement, is what is the definition of ethical? Like, where does it become unethical? And the whole dairy industry, for most Americans without an agricultural background, they feel is unethical. So my question, I guess, is, are these the same people that are then taking the ethical Bloom collagen supplements? And you can't have one without the other. So if we think the way the dairy industry is run is unethical, which I wholly disagree with, then you can't tell me that any supplement made from an animal product is ethical. Like, you can't have it both ways. Okay. Those farmers love those cattle like their children. They have a pretty sweet life, particularly the happy cows that come from California.
Okay. Bloom's colostrum is from family dairy farms in the USA that ensure calves are fed first, always. That means we only collect excess colostrum, ensuring the baby calves get all they need. No cows are harmed in this process. Sarah, do cows even produce excess colostrum?
That is a great question I have. I feel like there has to be some university system that gets involved in this. So I think you have to measure the antibody levels at the first milking, post-calving. You have to let the calf feed, and then you have to take serum antibody levels from that calf. And you have to do that serially through your 24 to 72 hours to prove that the calf has gotten what they need and that the cow is still producing colostrum.
So
even if there is colostrum in there, we don't know if the calf got enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So with dairy cows, in my experience, the cows never feed the babies.
Correct.
So we've never bred maternal instincts into dairy cows. That's something we breed into beef cows. And so number 300 has a calf. We remove the calf and then milk number 300. Since she's producing colostrum, we have a separate tank that we pull her milk out of. And then we give it back to her calf. Yeah. So there is, again, 4 gallons of milk, and then some of that milk is going to that calf. We don't put colostrum into the tank, like the big tank. It has to be, I don't remember, it's been years since we had a dairy farm, 48, 72 hours, something of that nature, before we start milking the cow into the tank. All cows we put bands around their ankles because you're at basically udder level and you can see their feet. And so you look and, hey, this cow, red meant colostrum, and then yellow was antibiotics. So if we've given a cow antibiotics, there's an antibiotic withdrawal period before you can draw milk from them. So you still milk the cow, but that milk was then fed back to the calves. But the calf never eats from their mother because there is no maternal instinct with dairy cows.
Okay, so it's not like I'm holding out this cup after 72 hours and like milking this cow. Like, it has been done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how ethical that, like...
I mean, then that's where I think my question of what do you define as ethical?
Exactly. Or is it just a buzzword?
It's also
an influencer word.
Yeah.
Let's see, what other word? Bioactive colostrum, grass-fed.
So, okay. On the grass-fed, all dairy cows that I've ever seen were grass-fed. However, most of them were also fed 20 to 30 pounds of grain per day. And so the grass-fed is a misnomer of like, hey, this is grass-fed. Yeah, it's grass-fed, but that's not the primary diet of a dairy cow. Like, legumes are actually one of the biggest because they eat alfalfa, and then grass is just an extra freebie, I'm going to say, because you have pastures, and you're like, hey, these cows get to eat a little bit of grass. But most of what cows eat is grain, and so if it's only grass-fed, that would, to me, I don't know the nutritional requirements for producing like Holstein, Jersey, Brown Swiss type milk cows, whether you could do just strictly grass-fed milk, whether it'd have the nutritional requirements for that or not.
I think they would produce milk. They're going to be lower volume producers, and then the quality of milk and therefore the quality of colostrum is going to be lower.
So they're needing more.
Yep.
And we're taking it. Wow.
But again, like a cow is grass-fed if I give it some grass. Is it,
sure.
For us,
my dog is grass-fed, actually.
Exactly.
It grazes on its own. What do you think of the cow byproduct, renaissance, and how long is it going to last?
Byproduct is such a trigger word for me.
Tell me more.
Because the pet food industry has made byproduct such a bad word. And this is because of influencers, I'm sure, had quite a bit of a hand in this. Is byproduct is automatically bad. Byproduct automatically means it's a filler. There's no nutritional benefit from it. And so anytime I hear somebody bringing that up is just like bracing myself for impact. But byproduct literally just means anything but the muscle of an animal. And so people that love their beef liver, they're eating byproduct. And I think that there's a huge benefit for making sure we're utilizing that byproduct to its fullest capacity. And so milk is a byproduct also. Colostrum is a byproduct. Collagen supplements are byproducts. I know that's on your list of things to talk about, but byproduct is just meaning that we are using everything that's usable. And so I think we need to continue the conversation and make sure the conversation course corrects in a positive manner. And I think that to some degree, the conversation and the use of byproducts should continue. I just think we need to be better about wording them and not overselling the benefits. Beef tallow skin cream is not better. It's just another option.
Yes. Sorry, I'm back to putting tallow on my face and I got distracted. I don't understand.
I'm going to send you some.
I don't understand why just lathering fat on my face is good. Okay.
They, when I first started dating Tom, he has this, well, I made him throw it away because it smells awful, but it was a sheep wool oil.
Lanolin?
Maybe. I don't know. It smelled awful, but he uses it. He would use, that was the lotion he used on his hands. And I was like, has to go. I cannot smell wet wool in my house all the time. But it's useful. And back in the day, you didn't have an option because there weren't other options. And so it's not bad. It's just an option.
I like that you just said back in the day because it pings Make America Healthy Again. We want to go back in the day.
Yeah.
So is that why all of these byproducts and the natural way of eating them are coming to the surface again?
Like, for me, I like it besides the fact I get to sell a little bit more. But besides that, I feel like I'm using more of the cow. Like, that's big to me in the fact that anything I throw away, I feel like I'm wasting. And it's like, well, hey, I'm a beef farmer. I'm harvesting these cows. I'm, butchering these cows. Everything that's not used, one, if it goes through my butcher, it has to end up in a landfill. Two, if it is at my farm, then we compost it. So it's actually better at my farm. But, I try and tell people, it's like, I want to use everything except for the moo. Like, whatever I can use from the cow, I want to use just so that I feel like this cow has, I know this is going to sound kind of like a hippie, but like completed its purpose in life. Like, it's given its life to do this. I want to use as much as possible from that cow. And I use cow because of cattle, beef, anyways, interchangeably.
That's helpful. Speaking of things that are taken from cows, collagen is another one. Sarah and Trampus, how are we getting this collagen from mass production of cows, mass production of collagen into protein powders and things like that?
Collagen is found in connective tissue, so ligaments, tendons, skin, hooves. And so I don't know the exact process, but they finish butchering their cow. They've taken their cuts of beef, and then what's left, to my understanding, is rendered down, and the collagen is separated out. Don't know the process. Then the collagen is put into various powders. I think they're actually comes in capsule form too. And there's different types of collagen. There's types that make up your ligaments. There's types that pick up your tendons. And then there's like the fascia that wraps around the muscle. Those are all different types of collagen. I don't know particularly what they put in most products or if it's just a mix of all of them. Collagen, though, is not a complete protein because it's missing some of the amino acids, but it is a protein source. And so people take it for skin health, hair health, nail strength, for arthritis support, for ligaments and tendons. I started taking it primarily because as a perimenopausal woman, I need an obscene amount of protein just in daily life to counteract hormone imbalances. And if I can get an extra 15 grams of protein from a collagen source and it might help my knees, then why not? Because when you're trying to get it 160 grams of protein a day, that's really hard to do.
That's so hard.
But I do, when you look at the research about the benefits of collagen, there are very mixed results in the studies. And I think probably part of that comes down to how is it processed and separated and how much of it remains bioactive once you put it into a powder.
And we need things in our body. Like, it's not like collagen comes through our hydrochloric acid and like moves into our intestines and then into our body. It's collagen. And we need, other nutrients and processes in our body in order to make. So the people are saying it's like becoming collagen in my skin, in my muscles, and on my face. I feel like that's kind of impossible. Not to say that the collagen itself isn't protein and that's fine and good, but the magical properties seem like magical thinking to me.
I think you can't rely on just a collagen supplement to achieve that goal. I think you need to also have a well-balanced diet that has your complete proteins in it. And then maybe collagen can accent. It's not going to get rid of my fine lines and wrinkles just on its own.
Trampus, have you boiled everything down and ended up with collagen? And how did you know it was collagen?
No, I have not. We do compost the last bits that are left for our garden. It makes our tomatoes amazing. Once in a while, you do have to throw out a femur because that won't usually compost down. But other than that, everything else composts down.
It's Jessica's facial expressions for me that.
It's all surprising. I'm thinking of my future femur collection is where, honestly.
When you hit it with the rototiller, you'll know. And so it's like, that was a femur. And then you just keep driving. So it's fine.
And then you just keep driving.
Everything else breaks down. And so, you get a little extra calcium and stuff in your soil.
Totally.
We give, like when I do small butchers, like one butcher or one cow or one steer, we have a large enough compost pile to compost all of the hooves, guts, bones, skull, that kind of stuff. When we do a large butcher of 6 to 12 in a day, we don't have a large enough compost pile, but there's another guy here in town who does, and he brings his trailer and all that gets dumped in there and he composts it all and sells it worldwide and has won competitions for marijuana with his cow compost.
Great. That's a lot. And are you bringing like hooves and all those bits to the market now? And are people buying? No, why not? Like, I feel like you could charge a bag, like $100 a bag of just like.
No, there's already somebody there who's selling dog treats and so they're selling dehydrated lungs, trachea, ligaments. There's somebody else who's selling freeze-dried spleen, liver as dog treats again. Some people are grinding the liver and then taking it as capsules and then eating it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go on record that you do have a freeze dryer in your house.
I do. I have zero desire to do that. It's
you just
for candy.
rotate the batches?
Nope. Not going to happen. So, yeah. But there is people there at the market who are selling dog treats, pet treats, or that are from all that stuff. And they have a market, and so I don't want to compete with them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you're not just bringing all the leftover bits so that people can boil it down.
No. We do bones, like marrow bones is one of our most popular, like the femur, fibia, tibia, like, and then it's split. We call it canoe, so that you can figure it's this long, and they cut it down this way, long ways, and then you're cooking with marrow.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
How's the market for mRNA and vaccine-free cows coming?
It's going good. Like, I've had several people ask. The mRNA vaccine one, we don't use it at all. But vaccine-free calves, I have a few because I messed up. It wasn't like I'm trying to corner that market. It was like, oh crap, I missed those 4. And I have since sold them because people are convinced that they're going to get vaccinated through the meat.
And I assume you charge 3 times as much.
I do not.
You should.
I probably should, but I don't.
Definitely should. And keep selling that 5G and Wi-Fi free chicken.
That's always important.
Yeah, I want some the next time. Let's do a taste test.
My chicken cage actually doubles as a Faraday cage, so yes.
So our homework from today is to try some tallow skin product, maybe on half of our faces.
I'll mail you some.
Yes.
I think
this requires an in-person.
How are we going to make this happen?
I don't know. All right. We have to figure it. Maybe Trampus could come down in May.
Sarah and Trampus, thank you for coming back on the show. I look forward to upping our skincare regimes together.
I can't wait.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, friends. Thanks again to Trampus and Sarah for coming back on the show. I'm sure this conversation isn't over, and I look forward to bringing him back. Stay tuned for a future segment of Sarah and I both testing some tallow lotion and burning some tallow candles to see if our house smells like a lavender-flavored burger. And keep listening and watching for Trampus and his tallow making process. While you're watching on YouTube and Spotify, you can like, comment, and heart this episode. If you're listening on Apple, you can write an Apple podcast review.
I did the first rendering, and here's the 3 bowls of tallow that I will then put into my crock pot and then render it the second time. Here it is, finished rendering the second time. Here's the bowl with the impurities, and you can still see that there's some impurities in the fat, and so that's why I render it the second time and the third time to hopefully get it. See how that's almost pure white? I try and get it all that color.
Until next time, friends, continue making things awkward. If you want to level up your support, you can join the Patreon, and those funds will support a couple entries to the Signal Awards this year. Thus far, the votes are for No Food is Better Than Bad Food by our favorite, Dr. Lustig. I'm Jessica Wilson, and you've been listening to Making Awkward. It's edited by Jen Jacobs, whose house doesn't smell like burgers, and is supported by the legacy of Sacramento Outboard Services.